Alright, live on Instagram. What's going on Instagram? I'm waiting for my Facebook Live. Alright. So, everybody, I got first off, this is your boy, the 361 A-Rod, coming to you live from the No Tomatoes podcast studio. And I have a fucking message for you today. I'm gonna wait till I get a couple of viewers on here if you're watching this later. So just give me a second. We got a viewer here. Alright, okay, let's get into it. So when I told you I wanted to start No Tomatoes, I told you I wanted to do some no mushy shit. And to me, this is definitely the opposite of mushy shit. This video is probably gonna be one of the realest ones I do. And we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff. So consider this your disclaimer. If you have kids and you don't want them hearing stuff about alcohol, drug abuse, some suicide, stuff like that, get them off now. But this is going to be about as raw and open as I'm going to get and my guest is going to get. So without that, let me go ahead and start with what got me to this. So for those of y'all who saw my post earlier today, I said, text me Rumpelstiltskin at 8 o'clock. And what I was going on was I was listening to a podcast. I'm going to go ahead and name them. Maybe they see this. Give them a shout out. Myths and Legends podcast. Jason and Crystal Weiser, they're a husband and wife. They run a great podcast. And it's Myths and Legends, right? It's nothing you would think that has to relate to this topic. But on one of them, there's a story about a guy who slept at a church. And they couldn't get rid of him. He had no food, no money, and they didn't want to desecrate the church by letting him die there because he wasn't a monk. And so they finally fed him, and in the end, they said, all right, look, you can take a handful of anything you want, and it's yours. You just got to leave the church. Well, outside the church, there's a caravan with a camel, a cart, and it was full of gold. As he was walking to the cart, he tripped and fell. And when he got up, he realized he closed his hand on something. And what he closed his hand on was a piece of straw. Hence the title of this video is A Piece of Straw. So that's all he had. You know, it was a deal they made. You leave, you can have a handful of whatever you want. And so there he is. He's already been down on his luck. And now he has a handful of straw. It's just a piece of straw. That's all he has. So he goes out through the story, and I'm going to paraphrase it. He keeps meeting all these people along the way through his little journey. And he ends up trading his piece of straw. A fly's bothering him. He ties it with a straw. And all these different events happen. And it goes from him having the fly on a piece of straw. He meets a merchant for peaches. And then he goes and he meets a knight or a samurai who's on a horse. And he overrode it. So he took the horse from the guy and fed it water. And then he met a millionaire. And the millionaire paid him money for the horse. And then it ended up being he invited him for dinner, and the millionaire ended up having a daughter who he helped down the road also. They get married and he becomes super rich, all from this one piece of straw. And so the point that Jason made on the podcast was, no matter what you have, whether it's in your hands, whether it's monetary, emotional, or whatever, it gets better. And that was my whole concept behind this video. Was I think right now, especially with everything going on, not just with politics or anything, but with life and COVID and the way the economy's going, people are out of jobs and everything like that, it gets better, guys. And I'm a big testament to that. I've been in a lot of dark places and stuff like that, and we'll touch a little bit here and there when we start doing the interview and everything. But that was my main thing. I wanted to let y'all know, when I say feed, don't eat, what I mean is I need y'all to feed into other people, help them out. Obviously, I'm not talking about food, so please don't think that it has anything to do with food. Given the name is No Tomatoes, I understand that. But what I mean is feed other people, their soul, their energy, emotionally. And what I mean is don't feed into your own ego, basically. But you do need to feed into yourself, into your own soul. And so I put that text out, that post, and my buddy hit me up, and he's like, hey, I got it. He's like, I'll message you. All right, cool. And then he's like, well, wait a minute. He's like, what's it about? And so I told him, and he's like, okay, well, let's talk about this. And it was a great idea. And so with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and bring in my guest over. Go ahead and come on over, buddy. So for those watching who are friends from me in school, this is my good friend Bob Broadway.
What's going on, guys?
Me and him, let's see, we met in what, 6th grade?
At least.
So we're both in our early 30s. I know we don't look it. We're gorgeous.
Speak
but
for yourself. I've got some age.
And yeah, we know each other for a long time. We're really good friends. We've been fishing with him, been to his house, drinking and stuff like that. But while we were messaging earlier, he told me that he was 22 days sober. And every time we would hang out, we were always drinking, stuff like that. I saw him the night I had my DWI crash. Had nothing to do with him. We were out partying. We went separate ways. But just to show, like, when we drank, all right? And I've had my own bouts with sobriety and stuff like that. I did 4.5 years already. I'm not sober now, so I'm not trying to knock the messenger or knock him or knock anyone who does drink or anything like that. This is literally just insight on where this is coming from. I did 4.5 years. I was in a pretty dark place. I didn't care about a lot of things. I still have that mentality sometimes, and something I am working on. It's one of the reasons I did start this podcast, actually, just to help me express myself a little more, to get a crowd out there to listen, and to because what I'm trying to say is, you don't need to talk to someone. You just need to say it. All right. If you put it out there in the world, then that's good enough. Like, some people are like, oh, I'm scared to talk to a psychiatrist, or I'm scared to open up to somebody about this. I see people who complain on Facebook all the time, like, quit your bitching. If you feel grow a pair. If you feel self-pity, I hate seeing people like this on Facebook, blah, blah, blah. You know what? If you don't want to see that, don't unfriend a dude or something. You know what I mean? Like, someone right now is out there, and all they're doing is venting. And when you vent, it actually helps you. It helps get stuff off your chest. Whether someone responds to it or something, that's up to you. If you're going to respond to how someone takes your post, then that is 100% up to you, and you got to take responsibility for that, because some people will criticize it, some people will give you advice, some people will tell you this, tell you that, but it's up to you on how you take that. Now, there's always going to be someone who saw it and has something positive to say, but they're going to be too scared to say it. And it's the same with when you're talking about certain situations, especially about alcohol, drugs, suicide, even stuff worse than that. Talking to anything, saying it out loud does not necessarily, they say when you say it out loud it becomes true. No, when you say it out loud, it helps release some of that stress, that burden off your back. And so we're going to go ahead now. We're going to turn to Rob. He's going to give us a brief backstory on everything that made him turn to his sobriety. And so with that, I'm going to go and slide a little over so y'all can see him.
What's going on, guys? So I'm Bob Broadway. I've been sober for 22 days now. It's probably been one of the roughest 22 days of my life. The first 2 weeks, I had to go through a pretty bad detox. The shakes, nauseous, just sick all the time. It was pretty bad. But what led me up to that, man, was, I've always been fairly somewhat successful at keeping my shit together, so to speak, and kind of always be on top of it. And a friend of mine had told me one time, he was like, rock bottom isn't always exactly bottom. It's not sitting in a gutter or drinking yourself to death in a bar, just, having nothing. I had a job, I had a business, I had a great wife, I've got a loving home. I had a whole lot more going on for me than I thought when I realized how bad off I really was. And, leading up to that, nothing actually significantly happened. I wasn't mad at anybody. I just woke up one day and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm literally drowning in my own self-pity and justifying everything where it made me feel better. And that was when it snapped, and I realized that I needed to go back to an AA meeting. So I texted a good friend of mine that morning, and I said, hey man, I'm thinking about getting sober. And it was really cool because you always see like the little dots when somebody's typing.
Yeah.
And of course, this person had already been sober for quite some time. And he goes, those little dots started going, and before he could even reply, I looked back and I was like, you know what? No, I'm gonna go ahead and quit drinking today. I'll go ahead and make the commitment. About an hour later, he pulls up in my driveway and goes, "Hey man, I'm going to a meeting today. You want to
Get
go?"
in the check.
I was like, "Yeah, all right, let's do it." Yeah, I was pretty excited. It's not my first time in AA. It did not work for me the first time. I think a lot of it just wasn't mature enough yet. I didn't understand what the disease and the addiction and what it will really do to you and where it makes you go.
Without cutting into, how old were you your first stint of trying to go to AA?
I was in 2007.
So you were 19.
19, 20 years old. My dad actually took me to my first meeting. I fucking hated it. It was horrible. It was miserable. I did not want to be there. The only thing that really kind of kept me going was my dad had like 20-something years sobriety at that point. And so I figured, if it works for one alcoholic, why can't it work for the next? What did you do?
I have no idea. Oh, nothing. Nothing happened.
Don't make that face, man. You're scared.
No, because it says that we're still live.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, I didn't feel very good about it at all until my dad stood up and started talking, and the whole AA spiel, which I can't really disclose what we talk about at meetings. If you want to find out,
go to
for
one.
yourself. That's all I can tell you about that. I will tell you that it is not a cult. I am in no way, shape, or form in a cult. It's just a bunch of people that listen to one another, and like you said, we vent, we get it out, we find similarities instead of differences, and we're just pushing each other to do better every day. And it's in 22 days, I've probably met, 7 people that I think will be, some of the most influential friends in my life, and I'm glad to call them probably some best friends. But it's a hard thing to deal with. Admitting that you're a drunk or a drug addict. Me personally, I'm an alcoholic drug addict. There's nothing I won't drink. There's nothing I won't do. Knowing that is a really shitty feeling when you sober up, because you realize how fucking stupid you are. I don't want to be that way anymore. I made that choice. I've put many people through hell and back. I should be dead. I should be in prison. I can name thousands of stories of things that I've done where I should not have been forgiven, and the most important of it was 10 years of that. I did it to my own wife. You said what led up to it. I woke up one morning and I realized that I loved drinking more than I loved my own wife. It was my best friend. She wasn't. And that floored me. This woman had been through 10 years of completely starting over, having nothing with me. I mean, we literally moved with $40, a mattress, and a trunk full of clothes, all the way to Austin, and just started our lives over 10 years ago. And that was hard, knowing that I had done that to a person that built everything that I have, and with me, and not material stuff, not the house, not the cars, not the business. She built me. That was a real thing. She turned me into the best version of myself, even though I was a drunk still. To have that kind of patience and love for somebody is unrecognized nowadays, and I didn't see it for 10 years. And now I look back and I'm like, how in the fuck did I do that to somebody? Why did I do it? How many times did I jeopardize her life or her future and take it away from myself and her because I decided to drink? That's what led up to that. That was that pivotal moment.
So for me, you said you were 19, 20. When I chose to get sober, the one and only time, because like I said, I'm not sober now, so don't hit the messenger, guys. I know it's one thing to talk about sobriety and not be sober yourself, but I've been through it. I've been there. So for someone to say I don't know what I'm talking about, or I shouldn't be talking about subjects like this,
I think with anything like that, I mean, if somebody's trying to get sober, guys, don't fucking bash them, or if it's even an idea. There's no sense in pushing all the hate. I
went 4.5 sober. I want to say I was a month before I turned 25. I'm 33 now, and I ended up racking 4 years and 9 months, and I quit cold turkey. And what I liked was mentally, given everything I've been through and everything like that, mentally I know my own weakness and strength, and I was still able, and I know a lot of people who are in AA or been to AA are going to attest to this or argue. I still was actually able to go out. I would go out, I'd still buy drinks for friends, and you can ask them. I had Red Bull and lemon and I'd have them put it in a cup, in a clear cup, make it look like I was drinking, and I would, for 4 years. I mean, they say in the book, I'm not trying to preach it on anyone, they say if you're mentally fit, you can do anything.
That's true.
And that's what I was able to hold myself to, especially a month before my 25th birthday. That month of October for me is an extremely hard month. My grandmother passed 2 days before my birthday, about 9 years ago now. And my birthday was always balls to the wall for me. And whenever she passed, it was balls to the wall because I wanted to forget it. It's nothing like waking up the day of your birthday to people coming over and mourning your grandmother, the woman who raised you. And it was hard. And the fact that I waited just under a year after she passed to quit, it destroyed me. I wish I would have had the strength to do it while she was still alive, to see everything I did accomplish, because while I was sober, it was, like you said, is a better person. And the things I did to the ones I love, the things I did to my own kids, and I don't mean physically, I'm talking about what I put them through emotionally. I never beat my kids or anything like that and stuff, but mentally tearing them down or having to see me passed out in my underwear on the couch and stuff like that, it's just, it's not something that I should have shown them. And it wasn't a whole big of an environment I grew up in. I mean, I was around it growing up and stuff like that. I did have moments I remember of certain family members being drunk and stuff like that, but it was never at the level I was. But I always told myself, I'm never that bad. I'm not that bad.
I'm still in control.
And I wasn't. And I'm still not. And I think it's one thing you need to realize for people who are having issues, that is like, you're always in control until you're not. And you're never going to know when that moment is, because it's literally the blink of an eye, you know, whether it's one more shot, one more pill, one more line, one more dose of whatever it is you're doing, and it can end. When I wrecked, I never thought I'd wreck. I was 32 at the time, and I hit the median of crossing on Galahad going 70 miles an hour. Got out of the car, walked away with a bruised rib. My car was totaled. I bounced off the wall, spun out, had another car hit me. Luckily, the lady who hit me wasn't seriously injured. I could have taken someone's mom, someone's sister, someone's daughter's life away that day, and I didn't. And I've never been so ashamed in my life for what I did. And you think, okay, yeah, you know, I did all that and I still drink and stuff. But honestly, these last few months, I've gotten better. Mentally, I've tried to keep the peace and calm it down a lot, and I'm working on it, guys. So just bear with me for those who are in the family watching and stuff like that. But the one thing is, like the video, it gets better, guys. There's moments in your life where you're gonna realize that you aren't in control, like I was saying. But just know, just because you're not in control now doesn't mean you can't get in control. All right, it's one foot in front of the other. It's one day at a time. There you go. And that's what you need to remember is, you can always do better. Like I said in one of my videos, do better than what you did the day before. Whether it's putting your seatbelt on one day, driving the speed limit. There's little things that you can do, minute things that you can do to make yourself better, which makes everyone else around you better. Because when you do better, you feel better, and your energy portrays onto other people that way, and they can feed off that. Like I said, feed off your energy. What do you think the biggest struggle for you, let's say, coming to that realization, or is going to be moving forward with this?
I think coming to the realization was probably the hardest part. You know, like I said, I had been through AA once before, and it kind of didn't really work out for me, mainly because I didn't choose to work the program the way it's supposed to be worked. And I think coming to that realization that I was an alcoholic, and that I was a drug addict, and that I pretty much had lost all control of my life. I had lost all control of my business, all control of my finances, all control of my marriage, everything, friendships. I was no longer available for people. I couldn't be an inspiration. I couldn't be fun. without, some kind of drug or drink, and that's just the way it was. But, coming into this at 22 days, like that first week and a half was just freaking miserable.
We call that 7-day hump or that 3-day hump or whatever
you go
it
through
is.
this really hard depression. That's kind of where it's so hard for people to get sober and stay sober, is because there's really, it kind of varies from person to person. For me, it was like 15 days and I started feeling better. Going, like, as far as coming into it, I feel so clear, and I've never felt more on track with something that I'm supposed to do, something that's so important, something that is going to change my future, something that's going to give me life again. Because there is no soul when you're that drunk all the time. And any of these people out there could probably vouch for, have you ever seen me without a drink in my hand?
I never have.
This does not have vodka today.
It does. I saw him open it. It is 100%. And moving forward, all my videos, guys, y'all have seen me. I usually have some kind of mixed drink or a beer or something like that. Obviously, for the sake of the video and for the respect for him, I too am drinking Body Armor. I was gonna get a Sprite, but I figured this was a little healthier, look better on camera. So, but that's another thing. Feeding into someone else's progression is something that we need to do better of as a society, because we see people in situations like this, and automatically as a society we're negative. We're like, that dude doesn't even, he's sober. Like, everyone wants to turn
white.
Oh, you are very
too,
white. Yeah. It's hard to tell. The light shines better on me. I
keep looking at this camera.
Right.
And I'm like, the fuck?
But everyone's so negative. Like, you wanna always downplay someone's situation or what they're going through. And I hate to say it, but I am a big doer of that.
We all do it, really.
I'll put this out there. I am not a fan of suicide. I think it's the easy way out. But I always told myself I was never gonna do it, or I never will do it. I haven't attempted it, but being told that when I'm there lying, whether it's in my underwear or naked, and I'm talking about killing myself, waking up to that news and hearing it is something. And I know I have certain people watching this, so I do apologize now for those who are. I need to take a minute.
If anybody's at that point, don't hesitate to call me or Alex. I've been through 2 suicidal kind of moments. I've attempted twice, essentially, and I'm not going to go into detail, mainly because there are people that are out there like that, and I don't want you to know what I was trying to do, so you don't get me bright ideas. Essentially, if you're that bad and you're at that moment in your life, pick up a phone. Do not walk away and say, I got this, because if you're thinking that way, I guarantee you don't. I was like that, 23 days ago. I was what we call the sidles, and don't allow yourself to be that way, man. Find somebody, find something, find anything. There's no reason to ever feel that way.
Your wife says she loves you, by the way.
She's lying.
So guys, I want y'all to know something. I do have these comments open for a reason still. I was really debating on not having any comments because I didn't want anyone popping in to troll and stuff like that, because my stuff is public on Facebook, Instagram. I'm sure people can come in and out and stuff like that. But Joey, I want to thank you for your message. I see everyone on here, and so if I don't say you hi, so I'm gonna read your message, Joey. He's my buddy Joey. I went to school with him in high school in Rivera. He says, I always tell people, behind every storm cloud there's a shining sun. Thank you for the powerful message and sharing your story. Life, even when it's darkest, does get better. We need to support each other, not tear down. Beautiful message of hope and human decency. This year has not been too difficult. Has been too difficult for us all not to support. And he's 100% correct, guys. There's so many people have lost loved ones this year because of this virus. No matter what your thoughts of it are, people are dying. People don't have their mother, their father, their son, their brother, their uncle, their cousin, their children. It's tearing people apart. I know relationships are being torn apart. Families are being torn by it. There's people who are working these front lines like some animals just to help other people get better. and by doing that, they're sacrificing their time. I know there's doctors who are traveling the world, the United States, all over, just to help find the virus and leaving their families at home and choosing not to see them because they don't want to put them in a situation that may get them hurt. And if you are on that front line, whether it is even still with police force, firemen, EMTs, nurses, doctors, surgeons, virologists, any medical field or something like that you have to deal with the public 23 of the 24 hours you're at work or something. Thank y'all so much for what y'all do. But we need to remember that everyone still is human. I try to I downplay a lot of celebrities, and I hate that so many people get so involved in celebrities' lives, because y'all need to remember they're human beings. They make mistakes. Sure. They cheat on their wives. They do this. They do that. They're gonna drive drunk. They're gonna do this. They have access to so many more things than us normal people do, or people who aren't as well off, that you tend to forget. Just because they're rich, just because they're on TV, they're still human. They still have to face the same struggles. And it goes the same with financial backgrounds. Just because someone's dad made $100,000 a year while your dad made 30 doesn't mean they didn't have a hard time growing up. The thing is, your struggles were just different. That doesn't mean anything. Just because you may have had a hard time seeing your dad because he was working 24/7 to make 30 grand, and this dude was a doctor making 100 grand, and he was off. Y'all took vacations every summer, and y'all did this, did that. That doesn't mean they didn't go through some of the same hardships or had those hard upbringings growing up. So y'all need to remember, like I'm saying, I'm gonna keep going back to it. It's gonna sound like a record, but it gets better.
It does.
I know a handful of people who've lost loved ones right now, guys, and I understand you're hurting. I have family members. I have some friends, some people watching right now. It gets better, guys. I understand it's super hard not having that person there right now. It gets better. It gets better. It gets better. The thing is, you just need to have the patience to see it and not act on your struggles, your worries, and open up. There are support groups. There are people who are willing to listen. For those of you who really want someone to reach out to and talk to, message me, whether it's on Instagram or Facebook. You can, if you want to get a hold of Bob, anytime, message me and I will get you in contact with him. I'll tag him in the comments and everything like that. I don't care what time it is. If I don't answer or something, I will reach out to you as soon as I can. I do go to sleep early a lot of times just because of my work schedule, but that does not mean I will not get back to you. If you don't want to send me a message and expose who you are, if you want to send me an anonymous message, it's notomatoespod@gmail.com. Don't think I'm trying to wrap this video up, because we're going to start getting into some other things here. But there are people who will help you. I know people who will help you. I will help you. Bob will help you. There are different programs that are free of charge. Do not think that just because you can't afford the help that you can't get the help, guys. It gets better, and there are people who are willing to help you make it better. We got so Kayla. I feel the same way. At times I ask myself why I'm here and why I'm moving. Sorry if you didn't want your name read out. I just said that out loud. Sorry.
Sorry, man. The answer to that,
So the question. I'm sorry. I don't want to. A comment is saying, "Why am I still here?" and stuff like that. So that's what we're gonna hit on right now here.
I kind of feel like that was the limbo that I was sitting in, and previously I had definitely been suicidal with the attempts, and this time I just really didn't want to live or die. Like I felt like I had no purpose left, and there just really was nowhere to go, man. I was laying in bed at night while my family slept, and I was sitting there going, man, just let me close my eyes and go. Just because I was too much of a chicken shit to do it myself, because I had lost all ambition, and that's something you need to use to fuel your fire, and that was definitely one for me, to tell me to get up and go do something about it, and stop sitting there in my self-pity and misery while I'm doing it to myself. Just get up and go do something about it. Pick up a phone, call somebody, do something.
And it goes to saying that you have that choice, guys.
Right.
It's not in anyone else's hands but yours. someone, if you put it in someone else's hands, that's one thing. If you open up to someone, then that's you taking control of that situation, whether it's opening up, messaging. They have Reddit threads and stuff like that. There's different forums and stuff like that. You can reach out to people that can get you help and ideas to get out of it. And this isn't just about, we're gonna sway off topic towards a little more in the video. But this right now, I feel is our main point. So I want the people who are watching to get this. I still have my issues with my, I'm not gonna call it my addiction, but with my weakness, my abuse. Perfect word right there. My abuse. I'm not perfect. I'll tell you right now.
I am, with the exception of alcoholism.
Yeah, but you're white, so it's kind of
Privilege.
Privilege.
Yeah, privilege.
Exactly.
I forgot.
It's privilege, guys.
You guys are right.
But yeah, I still drink, and if I know I can get away with it, I drink a lot. I drink heavy, and there are nights where I sit there and I don't even know what's going on, and I have to find out the next morning. And it's not just alcohol. I've had my stints with drug abuse. But I want to say, we were talking about self-harm and why people are still living, why you're still here. I myself want to say, I was always too scared. But what saved me mentally, even in my darkest moments, knowing that I said that while I was drunk or high off my ass, was thinking, what is it going to do for me? Take my pain away. But you know what that does though? Just because it takes your pain away, it gives it to everybody else. There's nothing like finding out, there's no way in finding out the pain that you now have put onto your family or to your loved ones or to your friends, because they now have to deal with the actions, because you were, I'm going to use this word loosely, because you were too selfish to open up and get the help or to even talk about anything, because you can talk about anything in a conversation without even talking about that one subject. There's so many different ways you can use words to your advantage to get a message across, and someone not even realizing it can give you the message back talking about something completely different, guys. Right. There's no reason for you to think that your own life is worthless, because I guarantee you there's one person who you won't realize, who you won't get to see. This isn't the movies. You won't get to see from heaven or hell or whatever your beliefs are crying.
Nothing.
You're not going to be able to see that, but everyone else is. Everyone else who's there at that funeral is going to see how your mother, your father, your son, your daughter, your loved one is now having to deal with the pain of you being gone because of an act that you were too scared to open up about. Because guys, it gets better. There's no reason for you to think that it doesn't. I'm still financially, I barely make it, and I only make it by the grace of my bank having an overdraft fee for my bills to get paid. But gas is in the tank, food is on the table, there's fridge, lights on, my kids are taken care of. Thank God, honestly, for child support, because I myself financially, I don't think I could be able to support them if it wasn't for child support. But at the same time, fuck the system. But I appreciate that money is guaranteed to them. I mean, all of my 5 kids are taken care of.
Jesus Christ. I could get a bigger TV, bro.
But yeah, guys, it gets better. I've been in wanting to not necessarily commit suicide. I've literally thought of, even no bullshit, just running away. Like literally finding a way to save money, getting a ticket somewhere, and leaving.
Just sell everything, go.
No, I would not even that. Honestly, just leave my phone somewhere and just disappear to another fucking country. Like, I've literally contemplated that so many times. It's ridiculous. And I mean, it sounds great. You know, everyone's like, oh, I would love just to get away. But
our problem is they don't want to come back.
Yeah, and this isn't, I'm not talking about a vacation. I'm talking about leaving everybody behind and coming to the realization of, like, I literally just thought of leaving my kids with no sense of communication or no form of contact is what helped me not do that. Is that I couldn't do it. I mean, and I've made my mistakes. I've messed up enough times as a father that you don't need to do it if you are a father now. Trust me, if you haven't messed up, I made the mistake for you. I guarantee it. I've gone months without talking to my daughters before. Luckily now, I've been lucky enough to have a more open relationship with one of them than the other, but that's fine. The other one still talks to me, whether she says it or not. I know she loves me, and I am trying, girls. With my other kids, I do get to see them 3 times a week, and about every other week I get to spend a whole day with them, and I am grateful for both their moms for letting them see me and spend time with them. But it was other people in my corner also knowing what I was going through. Even without me saying what I was going through, they can see it. And that's another thing. Don't think that you're hiding everything, because I guarantee there is someone watching from the shadows, seeing you struggle every day through that smile that you put on.
Yeah, and that's really true, because a lot of people that meet me, they either know me as like the serious guy at work or just a complete clown. And you'd never really guess that people like me or you go through these things daily. You know, it's a real thing. It's a real battle. If you feel that way, don't let people tell you that it's not, because I know what it's like, and it's not fun. Just believe in yourself. Don't give up.
So also reading another comment here, it says grieving over a loved one is how I'm gonna word it. One of my best friends lost his mom and dad within a week's time due to COVID. A friend who recently just lost her husband. I have another friend in the comment section who recently just lost his mother. It's grieving, guys, is 100% fine. There's nothing wrong with breaking down and crying, whether it's you're crying yourself to sleep or something like that. My sister recently just lost her daughter, and grieving is part of the process. You need to be able to do that, because it helps you relive those certain moments and stuff like that, and it brings, as funny as it sounds, it brings some light back into you with them. You start remembering the memories you've had, the times you shared together, whether it's the holidays or special vacations with just y'all two or something like that. It's part of the process. My grandmother's been gone now, like I said, for just over 9 years. The anniversary was October 8th, and I still, when I dream and wake up, and I'm going to try not to talk too much about it, because I guarantee if I start talking about her right now, I'm going to have to stop just like I did a minute ago. You should always grieve, but remember, they are there watching you, whether you believe it or not. They are there in the corner. You dreaming about them, that's not just you. They're trying to let you know they're still there. So don't think by you taking some kind of drastic action to be with them it's going to do that, because no one knows what's on the other side. So don't put your grief into idle hands.
That's right.
Yeah, it's that grief is a roller coaster.
Very good point.
It's an emotional roller coaster. You have your highs and lows with it, and sometimes it's gonna hit you out of nowhere. You know, there could be walking down the street and you see a flower that reminded you of a loved one or something like that, or a movie comes on or something. So don't feel that for those who do have grieving moments. My buddy Joey, you're welcome, Joey, man. For those of you who think that these grieving moments are breaking you down, they're not. And don't feel scared to talk about them. Like I said, there are support groups for people who have grieving situations and stuff like that. I guarantee me and my buddy, my friend Raul, one of his buddies unfortunately passed away in a car accident, and he likes to think about all the good times that he had with them and stuff like that. And there's nothing like sitting down and talking to someone and reliving those moments cheerfully. We talk about my grandmother a lot, especially during holidays. I remember decorating the Christmas tree with her and my sister. Thanksgiving was always with her. She used to burn my pork chops on purpose because I liked them a little extra crispy. So reliving those moments, I understand they hurt, and they're never not gonna hurt. But the thing is, it gets better, guys. Day by day, minute by minute, you are becoming a stronger person. And in the end, once you take control of your life and notice that there's Veronica, Vanessa.
Oh, yeah, they're there.
No, well, little Jessica, her
Oh,
sister.
sweet.
What's going on, Jess? We love you
Yes.
too.
What you doing, man?
Yeah, it's just it's something crazy.
I never really thought about it, but the 7 stages of grief are kind of like 12 steps. Like you have to do them.
I honestly don't even know what the 7 stages of
We'll
grief
do a
are.
whole new episode on that. That's there's too much in that book for me to try and decipher in and out.
So let's see. Moving forward, what is from your day 22? You said, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So like I said, without it coming off as a comparison, I did 4 years 9 months. Going into my sobriety, my goal was 5 years.
Right.
Knowing that if I did 5 years, I can control anything in my life. Now, I don't know, maybe subconsciously, me not hitting my 5 years is what threw me for a roller coaster, because once I started drinking again, it was like a beer here, beer there, and then I want to say it was like a light switch. It was balls on the wall
All of a sudden, yeah,
again.
it just turned on.
Do you have, what I wanted to do was I wanted to hit 5 years, and I actually wanted to try to get into craft beers, but I don't have a palate for it, for one, because I've tried. But with that being said, do you have a goal into which you may try, or are you trying to do 100% sober for the rest of your life?
Man, that's kind of a really, really good question. I'm glad you asked that. My goal right now is to get through today sober. If I make tomorrow,
hold on.
that is 100%.
That gave me the chills. So I want you to reword exactly what you just said for those who didn't hear. What is your goal?
I just want to get through the day sober.
Through the day sober.
Just today. If I get through tomorrow, that's an even better one. As long as every night when I go home and I sit down and I talk to my higher power and I look at my wife and I'm putting her to bed and playing with the dogs or whatever, as long as I know I can remember all of that for one and put a 1 up in my win column, then I know that I did one more day right. So long-term goal, man, I don't know, man. It's kind of hard because there's a difference between being dry and being sober. Being dry is kind of like taking a break, kind of get that reset and just move right back into it when you feel like the time is right. Being sober is admitting that I just can't do it anymore. I was living in a life of misery. So my long-term goal, man, I'd like to say forever, but I don't know what tomorrow will do. I don't know if I'll snap and I'll have a drink. I don't know what'll happen. I have faith in myself. I have faith with my higher power that tells me that I can do it. But all it takes is one drink and that's it. So, the last time I got sober, I did like a year before in 2007, and maybe a little more. I think it was like 15 months. But man, it took me 10 years to get back out of that, to get sober again. And I don't know if I got drunk again, if I would come out of it in time to save my marriage or save a friendship or help somebody that needed to be helped. I think it would be a long time, because when I drink, and some of you know how I drink, it's not good. So I think my long-term goal would just be midnight.
Midnight every morning.
Yeah, I don't drink past midnight.
So I used to do Beach to Bay.
Yeah.
And I did it for about 3 or 4 years in a row. And I used to just randomly quit for about a month. Just quit drinking.
That's a good point I want to hit on in a minute.
Okay. And then, but yeah, me and my buddy Raul and the other teammates, well, me and him for about a month before Beach to Bay, sometimes maybe 3 weeks into it, we just quit drinking. We just not quit for a month. And it was weird because we had the ritual. We'd always go out on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We do the Buffalo Wild Wings when they were good, because they're not that good no more.
Mm-hmm. Step it up, guys.
Yeah, back when you were 40 and 50 cent wings and stuff like that, that's when it was good.
What?
I fell off, raising the prices, inflation. Taxation is theft.
Assholes.
But yeah, we used to go every Tuesday and Thursday. We drink for the wings, drink with wings on Tuesdays, and Thursdays we'd watch football and drink there. And we continued that cycle even after we quit drinking because we were just trying to get our bodies ready for Beach to Bay. But we knew at the end of Beach to Bay, Miller Lite sponsored it. Sorry if I gotta edit that out. Miller Lite, don't sue me.
Or sponsor us.
Yeah, or sponsor. Because, you know, just like... Oh, I'll get back to that in a second. At the end of the race, they had 2 draft beers waiting for you. You know? So we'd go and we'd find everyone who ran who wasn't 21. And we'd be like, give me your number. When you get 2 free draft beers. But touching on how he said Miller Lite sponsor us, even though this episode is about sobriety, for those who don't know who makes nicotine patches and stuff like that, it is actually Philip Morris is one of the biggest ones. And if y'all don't know who Philip Morris is, he's one of the biggest creators or biggest guys
He's actually
of cigarettes.
Right there, that little logo.
So when people say, you know, both sides of the sword is the same people who are sharpening the sword are trying to dull it on the other side.
Yeah.
So with that being said, just because someone's in your corner doesn't mean they're trying to do right for you. You need to make sure you open yourself up mentally to see what their true intentions are. Are they there to help you, or are they there to sabotage you in the long run?
Trim the fat.
Trim the fat. It's hard to when they say keep your enemies close, your friends close, and your enemies closer, because there's certain times, when, especially in dark moments like this, that you don't know who's who. You don't know who's helping you. You don't know who's tearing you down. Just because someone's there with you doesn't mean they're going through it with you. They may be the weight, and you may not even see it. Other people may see it, and you don't. And that's what's important, is that you need to see it. You need to come to the realization yourself that what is actually good for you, what is actually going to help you. What's going on, Lisa? Bob's going to step away real quick. He needs to go take a piss.
I got to pee because, man, it's so weird being sober because I've never been this hydrated in my life. So I piss like all the time. I feel really bad for yelling at my wife for 10 years when she's like, pull over, I got to pee. And I'm like, fuck that, we got shit to do. Come on, man. It's horrible. I'm sorry, honey, for all those years.
So I'm going to keep this video going always. Anyways, if there's anything y'all want to ask now, go ahead and ask now. This is the time to get any questions in. I got 10 viewers. Also, go ahead and share the video now. You get a chance. We've been trimming a lot of fat lately. Well, Katie, you trim fat because you're a nutritionist. So, I mean, some fat's good though, right? I hope. Instagram, I see y'all on there, all 3 of y'all. I want to give a shout out to all my viewers on Instagram, all 3 of them. Oh. So, any questions, guys? Oh, thank you, Abraham. I appreciate it. And I understand, guys. So, I know this is No Tomatoes podcast, and it's really not much of a podcast. It's more of a vlog. I'm going to call it like a vlogcast instead. Do you have any questions or anything, or anything that y'all want to ask, or concerns? Anything? No? There's no one wants to ask questions. They may be too shy right now. If y'all do have questions, guys, message me, whether it's on here, whether it's on Instagram, whether it's on the Gmail. Like I said, it's notomatoespod@gmail.com. Now, going into, you had made the comment earlier, said you're an alcoholic drug addict.
Yeah.
Do you think, without getting too in depth, we don't want to scare the viewers.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Do you think those went hand in hand with each other, or were you able to hit with one and not the other?
Man, that's kind of a difficult question because, like, in my early years, I couldn't have, one without a drink, and normally, it just kind of fell where it fell.
$6t-shirts.com.
Get one.
I actually wore this for this podcast today. Instagram, y'all can't see it.
Nice.
Loser Lover. It is from It. but I figured this concept actually went with the video because mentally.
Oh, that's why, because she's a conspiracy theorist.
Oh, that damn Broadway chick.
Yeah, fucking weirdos.
This shirt actually, I thought it helped because the mindset that you're in may be loser. You know, you may think you're a loser. You may think that no one's out there in your corner and stuff like that. But actually, there are people who you may consider lovers, and it doesn't have to be sexually, guys. Any kind of relationship, you know, someone loves you. There is someone who is a lover of you as a person. All right.
You should always start with yourself, though.
Yes. If you don't love yourself, you're not. No one's gonna ever love you.
Right.
And once you touch on yourself, guys, you can start touching others. Just not like Epstein or Biden.
Yeah. Don't do the Epstein thing. Just do the fun stuff with adults, and don't be a pussy.
Butt stuff.
yeah. That stuff's great. Do that.
But so you said you wanted. Oh yeah, no, back to what I was saying.
What were we talking about?
Yeah, the hand in hand. Were you able?
Hand in hand. So yeah, when I was younger, man, I do
Like
it
the sound.
with like, you know, speed or whatever, and you know, that was just to get sobered up, and you know, when I was drinking, and everybody knows that story. Like, go out to a bar, it's kind of there all the time. When it really started getting into my life every day, that's when it became an issue, and that's when I got help the first time. Years after that, like, it was really hard to start drinking again when I decided to start drinking again years ago without the other one. So it took time to learn how to do that without having another substance. And that's, I think, I kind of fell off even more in love with alcohol because kind of felt like that's all I had. Now, I mean, towards the end of this thing, you know, like 40 days ago, yeah, I was dabbling back in drugs, but it wasn't really something that I had to have it because of the alcohol. It was just something that came up. So I think that it really just kind of varies from person to person. That's all. I mean,
I personally, I'm not gonna get too in detail, but when I would partake in certain substances, I used to have people tell me, "How can you do one without the other?" Because for a lot of, I guess, my stints, I was very functioning for a lot of it.
That's how it was.
And there's times I'd go through the whole day not coming off of it.
Yeah.
And people would be like, the whole day? It's like, yeah. Like, didn't you do this?
Yeah.
You did this all day. Like, how were you so productive if this is what you were doing, or you were in this state of mind? I mean, mentally, guys, your mind is the strongest muscle there is. There is nothing you can't achieve if you don't, without thinking it. Like, if you think you can do something, you're gonna be able to do it. And when I say that, it doesn't say like, oh, I can bench 500 pounds, and you're gonna go and try to do it. No, but your mind is gonna tell you, okay, you can do it, but you need to work up to it. Because no one should think they're gonna just go and do something like that. Your mind is gonna help you achieve those goals, but you need to say it out loud, right, so someone can hear you. For a situation like that, someone to train you. And it goes into, like I said, if you're having these situations to where you're not realizing how it's going to get better, when you reach out to someone, they are going to help train you to see that it gets better. It's not just about you going out there and training yourself and just, oh, I'm just going to lift weights for an hour by myself. You're only able to do so much. It's always good to get that second opinion or someone else's point of view to help point out what it is you're doing it wrong. And once you realize, once you see you're doing something wrong, or what you're doing isn't working 100%, then that's where that growth comes in, where they start feeding into you. I had to tell some of the kids today, I coach football, youth football, for y'all who don't know. In practice, we have to point out what the kids do wrong. And I hate it because they're great kids, they're great athletes, and they do good. And the only time we tell them they did good is when they do good during the game. When it comes to practice, guess what? It's chewing ass. And it's about everything they did wrong. And it sucks because they show up to practice and they're like, man, I was at practice and all coach did was tell me everything I did wrong in the game. And I had to tell them, look, I'm not telling y'all what you did wrong because I want to get mad at you. I'm telling you what you did wrong so we can fix it, so you don't do it again. Okay? See, good point, Renee. So you can never be physically able if you are mentally unstable. That's 100% true.
The fact of that is, and I'd like to say that clarity through sobriety is going to get you further than anything. Trust me, I've tried everything while I was drunk or drinking or on drugs. Hell, I've been up for days, thought I had the greatest idea in the world. But if you get sober for like 10 days, 14 days, all that shit gets out of your head. You start getting a little more clear. Sometimes it may take a little longer, depends on the person. But yeah, that sobriety, man, you'll see something different. And that's where you really can make a change. That's where you're able to really make the change.
And it's actually, it's proven scientifically, I believe, if I read the article correctly, that even if you only do it like every 3 months, if you just quit all the, I don't want to say toxins, because eating and stuff like that goes into it depending on what your health perspective is. Right. If you take a break basically from drinking alcohol for a week, your body actually re-cleanses itself, yeah. And then it operates on a higher function, or a better gear basically. You're more leveled going into the next few weeks or whatever. So that's one way for those who are struggling with, let's say, alcoholism or something like that. Get yourself 3 or 4 days. Do that. You can get 3 or 4 days. Boom. Just clear your body, clear your mind, and then just work that. You get 3 or 4 days. Boom. You do that every month. Then you look at it. You're like, man, out of these last 3 months, I was sober for almost 2.5, 3 weeks, and then you start applying that. You're okay. I did 4 days last month. Let's see if I can do 5 days in a row. Let's see if I can do 6 days. Yeah, let's see if I can do 7 days. You always want to keep pushing yourself to do better than you did the day before.
It's really funny you said that, because I actually had a bracelet made a couple of months ago. There it is. Me and a buddy of mine have one. They both say "do better."
Do better.
Do better.
Do better. I don't know how much more of I can say it, but by you doing better helps it get better.
That's right.
And that's one thing that, like I said, I'm just gonna keep hyping on, or griping on, I should say, this video, is because if you want it to get better, it's going to, plain and simple. Like Renee said, mental clarity. You need to put it in your mind. It's gonna get better. And if you can't put it in your mind, reach out to someone who can help you get it into your mind. There's a difference between, I said it in one of my past videos, hearing and listening. Okay? You need to make sure when you talk and communicate are also two different things. Right now we ain't talking, we're communicating. We're hoping.
Yeah, now you ain't even doing either one.
Yeah, I ain't doing shit. We're hoping that y'all are actually listening to what we're saying, not just hearing what we're saying. And by some of the interaction I'm seeing on the comments, the people who are reacting with this are listening to what we have to say, and I'm hoping this message does get to more people, because I really think that points of this message can help, or even maybe save a life. Not whether it's not today, but down the line. I mean, maybe this is a video that will, you could be perfectly fine right now, guys. And don't think just because everything's perfect now that it's gonna stay that way.
Bottom can come out of nowhere.
It's a sinkhole. Life is a sinkhole.
Quicksand.
One false step, guys, and you're falling down the rabbit hole. And it's not Alice in Wonderland, guys. It's a dark place, and you don't want to be there. Coming from me, at least, 'cause I've never had it as hard as some people have, and I'm not gonna say that I've had it the hardest. Growing up, I've had my own personal stuff here and there, and like I said, depending on how you grew up or where you grew up, some things were hard for one person, some things were hard for another. That doesn't take away from what developed them as a person.
Oh yeah.
So
it's like he was good at sports, and I got guitars and all the girls. So
yeah,
it's all right, buddy.
But I got some.
And
but yeah, like I got another one that says from Renee again. Man, Renee, you're spitting some fire comments.
Really are, man.
We're all struggling, and that's something. Oh shit! Instagram, I'm gonna pick up another video. It says I got 20 seconds to go.
See ya.
Yeah. So stay with me on Facebook, guys. I'm gonna end this Instagram, and I'm gonna pick it right back up.
I didn't know there was a time limit on this.
Or save a relationship. Yes, true. I didn't either.
I definitely saved mine.